بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تصلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم صدق الله العظيم.
Qur'an, Chapter 88, Surah Al-Ghashiyah by Sayyid Qutb, translation by Muhammad Al-Amrani. In the name of God, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Has the tale of the overwhelming event reached you? On that day, faces will be humbled, labouring and exhausted, scorched by a blazing fire, given to drink from a boiling spring. No nourishment shall they have except a bitter thorny plant, which neither satiates hunger nor gives any strength. Yet, on that day, there will be faces filled with bliss, content with their efforts, in a lofty garden, where no idle talk shall be heard. In it there is a flowing spring, raised couches, and goblets set at hand, cushions arranged, and carpets spread out. Do they not look at the camels, how they are created, and at the sky, how it is raised high, and at the mountains, how they are set firm, and at the earth, how it is spread out? So remind them, for you are only a reminder. You are not a controller over them, except for those who turn away and disbelieve. Then God will punish them with the greatest punishment. Indeed, to us is their return, and then upon us is their reckoning. This surah carries a deep, serene rhythm that stirs the heart to reflection and contemplation, to hope and aspiration, to fear and apprehension, and to the accounting of oneself for the day of reckoning. It traverses the vast realms of the hereafter and its stirring scenes, as well as the wide expanse of existence, manifest for all to see, filled with signs of God's creation. After these two awe-inspiring journeys, it reminds them of the accounting in the hereafter, of God's dominion, and the inevitability of returning to him in the end. All this is conveyed in a style that is deep in its rhythm, tranquil yet penetrating, sober yet awe-inspiring. Has the tale of the overwhelming event reached you? With this opening, the surah begins, aiming to turn hearts towards God, to remind them of his signs in existence, his reckoning in the hereafter, and his certain recompense. This question, suggestive of grandeur, implies that the matter of the hereafter is one that has been decreed and reminded of before. The Day of Judgment is given this new name, the overwhelming event, which envelops people and overwhelms them with its horrors. It is one of the evocative new names mentioned in this section. The great calamity, the deafening blast, the overwhelming event, the striking calamity, all of which befit the nature of this section. The address, has the tale of the overwhelming event reached you? Was keenly felt by the Prophet, peace be upon him, whenever he heard this surah, as if he were receiving it directly from his sustainer for the first time, due to the sensitivity of his heart to the speech of God, and his awareness that it was directed to him personally, without any intermediary. Ibn Abi Hatim narrated, Ali bin Muhammad al-Tanafisi narrated to us from Abu Bakr bin Abbas, from Abu Ishaq, from Umar bin Maimun, who said, the Prophet, peace be upon him, passed by a woman reciting, has the tale of the overwhelming event reached you? And he stood listening and said, yes, indeed it has come to me. Yet the address is general for anyone who hears this Qur'an. The tale of the overwhelming event is the tale of this recurring Qur'an, reminding, warning and giving glad tidings. It stirs in the consciences sensitivity, fear, piety and apprehension, while also arousing hope and anticipation. Thus it revives these consciences, preventing them from dying or becoming heedless. Has the tale of the overwhelming event reached you? Then it presents a glimpse of the tale of the overwhelming event. On that day, faces will be humbled, labouring and exhausted, scorched by a blazing fire, given to drink from a boiling spring. No nourishment shall they have except a bitter, thorny plant, which neither satiates hunger nor gives any strength. It hastens to depict the scene of punishment before that of bliss, as it is more fitting with the atmosphere of the overwhelming event and its shadow. There on that day faces will be humbled in their work, weary and exhausted. They laboured and toiled, but did not find the work commendable, nor were they pleased with the outcome, finding nothing but woe and loss, increasing their distress and fatigue. They worked not for God, but for themselves and their children, toiled for their worldly desires and ambitions. Then they found the outcome of their labour and toil, a life of hardship in this world, without any provision for the hereafter, and darkness leading to torment. They faced the end with the dejection of the weary, miserable, and disappointed. Along with this humiliation and exhaustion comes the torment and pain, scorched by a blazing fire, which they taste and endure, given to drink from a boiling spring which is scalding hot. No nourishment shall they have, except a bitter thorny plant, which neither satisfies hunger nor gives any strength. Some say that the thorny plant is a tree of fire in hell, based on what is mentioned about the tree of Zaqqum, which grows at the root of the hellfire. Others say it is a type of thorny plant clinging to the ground, grazed by camels when green and called shabrak, but when harvested it becomes known as dari, and camels cannot bear its taste, for it becomes poisonous. Whether this or that, it is a type of food on that day, along with pus and foulness, and the rest of the substances that neither satiate hunger nor provide any nourishment. Clearly, we cannot grasp the nature of this torment in the hereafter while in this world. These descriptions come to touch our human sensibilities, evoking the most intense pain imaginable, combining the humiliation and weakness with the burning fire, the scorching water, and the inedible thorny food that even camels cannot bear to taste, a thorn that has no benefit, nor does it provide sustenance. From this combination of images we form a sense of the utmost degree of pain. The torment of the hereafter is even more severe, and its nature is known only to those who experience it. May God protect us from it. On the other side, yet on that day, there will be faces filled with bliss, content with their efforts, in a lofty garden where no idle talk shall be heard. In it there is a flowing spring, raised couches, and goblets set at hand, cushions arranged and carpets spread out. Here faces radiate with delight, brimming with satisfaction. These faces rejoice in what they find and are pleased with their deeds, for they have found their outcome to be good. They enjoy this spiritual feeling of satisfaction with their work as they see God's pleasure with them. Nothing soothes the heart more than to be assured of its goodness, to be pleased with its outcome, and then to witness it manifested in God's gracious pleasure and in bliss. This is why the Qur'an presents this form of happiness before describing the luxury and delights of paradise. Then it depicts paradise and the bounties available to these fortunate ones. In a lofty garden, elevated in itself, majestic and noble, high in degrees and high in ranks. The sense of elevation has a special resonance in the heart. No idle talk shall be heard therein. This phrase creates an atmosphere of peace, calm, security, contentment, love and satisfaction, far removed from any idle, useless talk. This in itself is a blessing. This in itself is happiness. A happiness that becomes evident when the heart recalls this worldly life, with its idle talk, disputes, conflicts, hustle, bustle, quarrels and noises, an endless din. Then the heart surrenders to the thought of tranquil peace, serene safety, satisfied affection, and tender shade in the suggestive phrase, No idle talk shall be heard therein. The very words breathe a spirit of freshness, sliding softly and smoothly with a melodious and gentle rhythm. This touch suggests that the life of the believers on earth, as they distance themselves from idle talk, is a part of the life of paradise, preparing them for that noble bliss. Thus, God presents this noble, radiant meaning of paradise. Then come the pleasures that satisfy the senses and desires, depicted in forms that human beings can comprehend. In paradise, these pleasures are attuned to the elevated souls of its inhabitants, which only those who experience them can truly know. Within it are flowing springs, and these springs, gushing forth, combine the sustenance of life with the beauty of motion. Their ceaseless flow and vibrant energy stir within the heart a sense of life, a pulse that resonates deeply, bringing joy to both sight and soul. Upon elevated couches they recline. The height itself speaks of purity, as it whispers of sanctity, and goblets set forth, aligned, ready for the drink, needing neither to be requested nor prepared, cushions arranged, these soft, inviting pillows laid out for comfort and repose, and rich carpets spread, luxurious rugs with their deep, soft weave scattered for both adornment and ease. These are delights that those on earth may recognize in form, though their true essence, their profound enjoyment, lies beyond the grasp of worldly senses, reserved for the blessed who by God's grace are granted this taste. To delve into the nature of this bliss, or that of torment, is to step into futile discourse. The reality of such things is tied to the nature of perception itself. Here on earth, our understanding is bound by the limitations of our senses, shaped by the constraints of this worldly life. But once there, the veils are lifted, the barriers removed, and the soul and mind set free. The meanings of words will shift with the changing of taste and experience, revealing themselves in ways we cannot now imagine. What we gain from these descriptions is the ability to summon within our minds the highest forms of pleasure and joy we can conceive. This is all we can taste while we remain here, until the day when God grants us the truth of it by his favour and his grace. And after this journey through the world beyond, we return to this present existence, the visible, tangible world where the signs of the Creator's power, his design, and the precision of his craftsmanship are laid bare for all to see, pointing inevitably to something beyond this life, to a reality beyond death. Do they not then look at the camels, how they were created, and at the sky, how it is raised, and at the mountains, how they are set firm, and at the earth, how it is spread out? In these brief verses, the essence of the Arab's environment is captured. Yet these same elements stand as signs for all humanity. The sky and earth, the mountains and animals, these are present in every person's experience, no matter their level of knowledge or civilization, offering inspiration and guidance to anyone who contemplates their meaning. The miracle lies within each of these creations. The hand of the Creator is unmistakable, unparalleled in its craftsmanship. These signs alone are enough to convey the fundamental truth of faith. Thus, the Qur'an calls all people to reflect on them. Do they not see the camels, how they are created? The camel, central to the life of the Arab, upon which he travels and transports, from which he drinks and eats, and from whose hair and skins he clothes and shelters himself. The camel, with its strength, its endurance, its unique adaptations that enable it to thrive in the harshest conditions with minimal care. The very design of this creature points to the wisdom and precision of the Creator. And at the sky, how it is raised. The Qur'an repeatedly draws attention to the heavens. For the desert dweller, the sky is a constant companion, a canvas of overwhelming clarity by day, and a dome of awe-inspiring beauty by night. The sky's expanse, its intricate design and its silent testimony to the power and grandeur of its creator, all this should move the heart to contemplation. And at the mountains, how they are set firm? To the Arab, the mountains are a refuge, a companion, a source of awe. Their towering presence inspires humility, drawing the soul naturally towards the divine. In the presence of these giants, one feels the urge to draw closer to God, sensing a nearness to the Creator amid the silence and majesty of the peaks. And at the earth, how it is spread out? The earth is laid out before us, prepared for life, ready for labour and travel. But who made it so? It was not humans who flattened and smoothed it. It was prepared for them long before they existed. Will they not ponder this and ask, who prepared the earth for life? These signs are enough to awaken the heart, to stir the spirit towards the Creator of these marvels. The simple act of looking with awareness and reflection is sufficient to ignite the flame of faith and reverence. In this, we pause to admire the exquisite harmony in the imagery of these verses, where the Qur'an speaks to the religious consciousness with the language of artistic beauty, blending the two seamlessly in the heart of the believer who perceives the world's inherent splendor. The overarching scene includes the raised sky and the spread-out earth, with mountains standing tall like pointed peaks, and camels with their lofty humps. Two horizontal lines and two verticals create a vast harmonious picture, each part in perfect balance, echoing the Qur'an's unique style of presenting scenes and expressing them through a comprehensive visual language. And now, after the journey through the hereafter and the contemplation of the cosmos, the Prophet, peace be upon him, is reminded of his mission, and the hearts are touched with the final awakening call. So remind, for you are only a reminder. You are not a controller over them, except for those who turn away and disbelieve. Then God will punish them with the greatest punishment. Surely to us is their return, and upon us is their reckoning. So remind them of both, the hereafter and the signs of creation. Your role is simply to remind. This is the limit of your duty and the extent of your mission. You are not a controller over them. You do not have power over their hearts. You cannot compel them to believe. The hearts are in the hands of the most merciful, beyond the reach of any human. As for the struggle that was later prescribed, it was not to force people into faith, but to remove the barriers preventing the message from reaching them, to ensure they are not hindered from hearing it, and not persecuted for accepting it. It was to clear the way for this reminder to fulfill its purpose. The only role of the Prophet, and by extension of every caller to faith after him, is to remind. The rest is in the hands of God. No one will escape his judgment, no one will avoid his reckoning, except those who turn away and disbelieve. Then God will punish them with the greatest punishment. They will inevitably return to God, and He alone will judge them with certainty. This is the final emphatic note of the Surah. Surely to us is their return, and upon us is their reckoning. With this, the role of the Prophet in the call to faith is defined. He is a reminder, and their reckoning lies with God. There is no escape from their return to Him, no evading His judgment and recompense. Yet it should be understood that part of this reminder includes removing the obstacles from the path of the message, so that it may reach the people and the reminder be fulfilled. This is the true purpose of the struggle, as understood from the Qur'an and the life of the Prophet, carried out with neither negligence nor aggression.